All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to this interview series. I'm lucky to be joined today by Tony Parra, a great coach in the industry. For those of you that don't know, could you just introduce yourself, my friend? Just let us
Yeah,
know what you
yeah,
do.
thank you. Uh, I'm a strength coach. I'm a certified level five, PICP level five coach for a while now. I'm a strength coach that specializes on uh, fighting sports, grappling sports specifically. I've been doing it in the industry for over 20 years. I'm based on Dominican Republic, and
Nice.
I've had many athletes go to the Olympic Games, world champions, and continental champions as well.
Amazing, man. Yeah, it's good to have you here. So yeah, today we're going to be just discussing essentially strength and related topics. Yeah. So
Yeah, correct.
yeah, we'll dive into the first one here. So, what are your core principles, or what are the core principles of developing absolute strength? What would you say these principles are?
Okay, the thing with what I've seen in my experience is the problems are not the principles. The problem is the application of the principle.
Okay.
That's number one. And number two is people tend to forget, or maybe sometimes they don't know, but the principles they relate to each other. Like one of the principles that I think is most important for strength development is the law of repeated efforts.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to do one type of training, one exercise, one strength quality, enough enough times for you to develop that quality or improve that lift.
Yeah.
But it actually relates to variation a lot. So this is another principle that variation means that you have to vary the exercise for you not to stagnate or hit a plateau and keep improving. But the thing is that what I've seen is people either do one thing too much, like
Okay.
they would go long repeated efforts to an extreme, and or do variation to the other extreme.
Okay. Too much
So
changing stimulus.
too much change or too much of the same shit all
Yeah.
over. Okay, so what people need to know that they're related. They know that they need to bring it closer to that. Like I need to vary, but my variation should be enough to cause improvement, but not so much variation that I won't be able to stabilize the quality or the lift or the movement that I want to improve. So
Yeah.
you need to vary enough that that you can keep improving what you're looking for or your goal.
Okay.
And you have to do that enough times for your body to adapt and really get the most out of it. But you cannot do it so much that you have to learn when to change. Because if you keep doing just the same thing over and over again, you're just wasting your time. It's not effective enough. It's not efficient enough.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things that I see the most. One of the other things that I see is like we all know specificity is one of the other core principles of training, and I want to make it clear for everything that you want to train for, either speed, endurance, bodybuilding, or muscle hypertrophy, or strength or power, the principles apply.
Yeah.
That's
For
one.
sure.
Okay, all the principles. So that's one. So when you go with specificity and individuality, what means one is you have to do specificity means or refers to the sport. You
Okay.
have to do something specific for the sport, and individuality means specific for the athlete.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you have to bring that together. So what does that mean? Is like you have to train specifically for the sport in a way that your athlete responds better.
Okay. Interesting.
I have let's say I have two volleyball players. They play basically the same position, but what I have to do for one to improve, let's say, power, it's not necessarily the same that I have to do for the other girl, even though they're the same position. Sometimes I have to do stuff different for one another just to get the same result.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
this is where people get also, they don't get it.
Yeah.
That even though maybe you have athletes with the same objective, they need to do it in a different way.
Yeah.
Sometimes their recovery rate is different. Sometimes they have, let's say, a lever length are different, or injuries affect each other. But
sure.
know that you can get there in from a different path.
Yeah. So
Okay?
yeah.
So those are the things that people don't get. That they are related to each other. Principles are related to each other, and there's a balance between them. The art of the training will be knowing where that balance lies for each of your athletes, or even Gen Pop.
Yeah. Yeah. So same outcome, and then applying it to the individual and what they respond best to.
Yeah. Correct.
Amazing.
Correct. So, but if you ask me, the most important, maybe, well, things that, okay, and this is the other thing. People, even coaches, what happens is they do apply the principles, but the thing is that they don't really know the principles. They just do it in a, let's call it, instinctive manner.
Okay.
And what happens is, if you don't consciously know the principles, it's easier for you to overlook them.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay? If you don't know specifically, like, what are the principles of training, it's easier for you to overlook them. Like, right now, I can mention all the principles that I mentioned. Everybody would say, yeah, I do that and I do that. But did you know about them?
Yeah.
Because maybe, if you don't know, maybe you do something that you might overlook one of them. Maybe you're not overloading enough. Maybe you're not giving the same training enough time for the body to adapt. Maybe you're not varying enough for the body to avoid overtraining. But the thing is that people know it because there are a lot of coaches that they've been training for a long time, and it's a default for them to do it. But are you consciously aware of it? Like, you know when to vary. You know how much you're going to stay in the same program. You know how much you're going to overload them. You consciously know about it. And what I've seen is a lot of people, like, you go to any coach and you go name the principles of training, and they might not know it.
Yeah.
But once you know them, you go, oh yeah, I do that, and I do all of that. Yeah, but you don't know them.
Yeah.
And knowing is half battle.
Yeah, for sure. So you're constantly observing your clients and their responses to everything, and then you're making adjustments based on those responses.
Yes, and this is another thing that I'm a big believer in the individuality, like, do things for each other, but that takes time. What I mean is, like, if you're gonna get two athletes, same sport, and they've never done anything, you can train them with the same routine, and as they go along, as they develop, you will see the differences, and they will have to move apart from each other, doing something different. But in the beginning, you don't have to go, unless there's some injury or specific conditions, you don't have to be anal about it. Oh, it should be specific to the T, to every athlete you have.
Yeah.
Maybe you can train them as a group, and as they move along, you start separating them.
Yeah. Okay.
You see, this guy responds better to this, and this guy is not as good in this lift as the other. It needs to improve it. So you know what I mean. So people think that, I think people tend to be fancy too fast. Like, off the bat, they try to do very fancy stuff just to get the buy-in.
Yeah.
You don't need that, man.
Like
basics. Like, you need to master the basics.
Yeah. And the results will just kind of speak for themselves, right? That would be the buy-in. It's just the client getting the result that they're after, and you've delivered that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
That's it.
So that kind of touched on the second question, which was what are some of the common errors, right? So, like you mentioned that already. So yeah, we'll move to the next one. Is power development important for a strength-based athlete?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I really think that uh, it doesn't matter. And let's say you have power lifter, right? Like if you go to West Side Barbell, they go like, you need to be like powerful as well. Like they would train like a speed day where they go and move the weight as fast as they can. And I think it's very very good at it. And that's very good idea because there's a point where it's not about how strong you are anymore. It's how fast can you apply strength.
Okay,
Okay,
interesting. Yeah.
so it gets to a point like it doesn't matter uh, how much I can squat anymore. It's how fast can I move the bar.
Okay. All right.
And actually, I think that will improve the lift. That will improve the the maximum strength as well. Because and here's the thing: going back to the principles, is it's a little bit of a variation, but not so far off from what you're looking for what your main objective is. So I think it is a great way for tap to new uh, motor unit pull. I think it's great for neurological aspect of the lift. Um, I think it's great for coordination, intermuscular and intramuscular coordination. So
Okay.
it has so many benefits
Yeah.
that it is a great way to train. Even you're let's say you're a power lifter, of course you need that strongman training. I think it I think it's great because it will improve whatever you're looking for. Uh, it's not like you're gonna be a bodybuilder and you're gonna go do a power workout. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see the use of it,
Yeah.
but,
Different stimulus. Yeah.
but yeah, but for strength-based sports, yeah, for sure, man. Like it is very important.
Yeah. And then for like power-based sports, strength would still be an underlying foundation. Yeah. Like the
Strength is the mother of all qualities. So I
yeah.
think it's strength. It doesn't matter if you're a marathon runner. You need to be stronger
Yeah.
because it gets to a point when you're a marathon runner. It's not about if you're gonna finish the 42 kilometers. It's how fast are you gonna do it.
True. That's true. Yeah.
So
Okay.
so a real endurance race would be okay. Just keep going until you cannot go anymore.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
But this is like 42K. Let's see how fast can you do that.
Yeah.
At the beginning, when you're doing that sport, of course you're gonna develop aerobic endurance and all that and capacity. But it gets to a point as you become elite is how fast can you do that? So you need to get faster, you need to get stronger.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
they'll need to look at
that's the
that.
way I see it.
Yeah, that's very good. Um, and then, are there any like principles in terms of developing power? Are there any like because that would need its own specificity as well, right?
Yeah. Uh, there's no principles. The thing is that you have to know about how to generate power and let's call it the classification of power. Like you have, is your sport explosive? Is this more? Do you need acceleration? Do you need more reactive strength, or is it more power endurance? Is it short? Is it long? Like short power endurance or long power endurance?
Oh wow,
Like
okay.
yeah. So is it intermittent? Where like what do you really need?
Yeah,
That's one. And number two is like, even though the thing in the power realm, everything is very close together. Okay, so because the movement is so fast that there's a lot of things happening at the same time. Even though you can focus more on one aspect or the other, but you cannot completely disassociate one from the other, like the
okay.
body itself, you know? So learn the same thing that even though your main focus is, let's say, explosiveness or acceleration, If you work, let's say, a little bit more of your elastic component, if you work a little more of your explosive component, that will translate into a better outcome as well. Even
Okay.
though I do more of acceleration, I still need to do some, because it doesn't matter. Even in training, it doesn't matter if you're gonna focus on let's say accelerate the bar. When you start, you need to have an explosive portion of the lift. There's an explosive portion in the lift, so you need to improve that as well.
Yeah.
So I don't mean you have to focus on everything. You have to focus on one thing or the main limiting factor for your sport, but don't forget that other stuff around it will have a synergistic effect on whatever you're trying to improve.
Yeah.
Because power is has been happened so fast that everything's close together. Like if you ever see tape or even talk to or read about power, it's just like it's things in microseconds, in
Yeah.
fractions of a second.
It's rapid.
So
Very rapid.
you need to be able. It's hard for you to divide it.
Yeah.
People try to divide too many things.
Yes.
You know. So first of all, is know what kind of let's say in this power realm where your sport is or what are your needs, and work accordingly. But remember that everything will affect it.
Yeah.
Well,
So
but one thing that I've seen is like now it's out there. Everybody knows it's like people try to okay. People try to do power sport, stuff and speed stuff um, very early.
okay.
Even though there are things that you can do, I think one of the main factors you have to focus on is increasing strength.
Okay. So that would lay the foundation first.
Uh, there's a saying, or not saying, people know like for you to do real or improve or get into real power stuff, power training, you need to be strong enough to do power training.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things you can do like low impact plyometrics and stuff like that to improve your power. But for you to do the real stuff, you need to be you need to improve your strength. Your
Okay.
strength is the foundation. That's number one. And then what happens is when you do and this happens for every training quality or strength quality, if you use a advanced method too early, you'll lose it twice. So what happens is you won't get as many benefits right now because your body's not ready to really use or adapt correctly and take the best out of that
Wow.
training.
Okay.
And when you do it later on in some other periodization, it's not new. So the body doesn't
Ah.
the body will remember it. Let's call it.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Not, so you then again you won't get the best result. So you lose it
Wow.
twice. You lose it at the beginning and you lose it more forward in time.
Okay.
So it is very important to take your time. It is important. I learned this from Derek Wuski. It said, patience will make you stronger.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So people have to stop trying to be strong tomorrow.
Yeah.
They need
Everyone's in a
to
rush.
take okay, everything's about so take your time, man. Just take your time.
Yeah. So for the athletes that you train that are like the grapplers, is that power more intermittent? It's not a once-off power event,
No,
right?
no.
Yeah.
In my sports is power endurance.
Okay.
What I found is power endurance and high intensity strength endurance.
Wow. Okay.
Not strength endurance like getting like 20 kilo bar and doing 50 reps.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. It's getting 80%, 75%, 85% of your max and do as many reps as you can in an intermittent fashion. That
Whoa.
really is better and really gets you closer to what you're going to find in sport, in competition.
That must be intense. That sounds like intense
Oh,
training, man. Yeah,
really, really bad, really bad, really bad.
yeah,
But I think that in grappling there's a mix because you have to be able to produce a lot of strength and power throughout the fight. But then again, you produce a lot of lactic acid, so you need to have a good anaerobic lactic threshold, like your anaerobic, your lactic uh, uh, capacity,
yeah.
what's called lactic tolerance, should be very, very high. Because
Okay.
actually you produce 18, 19, 20 millimoles of lactic acid in the body. So it's very demanding.
Yeah. So you take care of that training as well for them, not just the strength
Yes.
power element.
Well, the thing is that with grapplers in all fighting sports, they do train out the whole year.
Okay.
Like even when they go like off season or not off season, real athletes don't have off season, but
Yeah.
when they go not competing on a transition phase, like let's say 4 weeks, 6 weeks, they do train twice or 3 times a week.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
that's very little for them. Two times a week, 3 times a week. The only moment my athletes only get like 2 to 3 weeks completely off.
And
That's
you
it.
you will schedule that in for them.
No, I adapt to whatever the
What they.
national team.
Yeah. Okay. Is that when they're on season, off season sort of thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they go, okay, they have 2 or 3 weeks completely off, and they still train with me. Then they start easy, just training 2 or 3 times a week, and then it's like
Yeah.
all year.
So
And they train.
when
So to do too much conditioning can overtrain them.
okay, yeah. So when they come back from their 2 to 3 weeks off, you put them through a general prep phase again, or you'll
Yes,
yeah.
and okay. So the thing is that 2 3 weeks completely off. It's part of their general preparation.
Okay, okay. Getting the soft tissue
Yeah,
to
because
rest and
they never,
everything.
my asses never, they only stop training when they're abroad, when they're fighting or training some other place, some other country. But when they're here, they have to come to the gym every week, 3 to 4 times a week, every week throughout the year.
Well, you really have to
What
have like like intense willpower to do this, right?
the thing is that okay, because this is the thing. This is good for me. This is not what usually happens in sports like that. What you get is 8 to 10 weeks, like twice a year. That's it. You barely see them again.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
since due to the federation stuff and the way they handle it right here, I can see them the whole year
Okay.
unless they're traveling. So what I do is I always see them 3 times a year, 3 times a week. Sorry. But what I do is vary the volume depending on which phase they're at. And let's say it's more their general preparation. They're barely doing any grappling on the mat. So I would do, let's say, higher volume work. But when they start training judo or jiu-jitsu like really intense twice a day, then I just
Mm.
cut back. They
Okay.
still keep coming 3 times a week, but I drop the volume
Okay.
a little bit more, focus more on what I need.
Yeah.
And when the competition comes, I drop even more. And
Okay.
then when the training relaxes a little bit, then I push back forth a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it's like that. Instead of going like don't come or come for 8 weeks and then I don't see you again, I'd rather have them come in every week so I can keep an eye on them.
Yeah, and you'll just modify accordingly. So do you speak to their like fighting coaches as well?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like
So it's a team effort.
there are a couple of guys that I taught them a little bit because I used to be a national judo coach as well,
Yeah.
and
Oh
a
yes,
club judo
that's true.
coach.
Yeah.
And when they were kids, I used to teach them as well.
Nice.
And their main coach is my sensei. Like their sensei, their teacher is my
Oh,
teacher as well.
okay.
Again, that's why I have a very good relationship, and
Yeah.
I can pull the strings to get them into the gym more often.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, but that's good that you're paying attention to what they're doing in their training there as well. Like and then
Yeah,
modifying it accordingly.
because people need to know strength training is part of the training.
Yeah.
It's not the whole training. So you, while the coach, the head coach is the one that calls the shot. Whatever
Okay.
he says goes.
Yeah.
You know. So that's why I try to have a very good relationship with him. So I adjust according, and he listens to me. So I say, don't do this, do more of that, do more of this,
Okay.
and he goes, okay, guy. Of course, I have to show him the papers, the research,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
explain to him
For
why I
sure.
want this and that. But sometimes some coaches don't have that luxury,
Yeah.
and they have to uh, do whatever the head coach wants.
Yeah. True. Yeah. So with the volleyball clients, do you also chat with their coaches as well, or you just get
Uh,
feedback?
yes. Well, the thing is that with the girls that I got on the national team, what I do, I have their training program, like the strength program, and the season, and like when the competitions are taking place, and I adjust, and I try to navigate that. For example, that's a harder for me because they have their own plan. The things that these two girls are independent. They try to do independent stuff. So I have to be very, very careful, and I always give priority to whatever the head coach says,
Okay.
because I'm not the head coach of the team. I just train two of the girls that are on the team.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
Okay,
Yeah.
so whatever if the head coach, if she tells me that the head coach wants them to let's say train this or uh, take a rest or lower the volume or they're gonna do this more. Like I try to adjust to whatever they're doing and
Okay.
not to fuck up their volleyball training.
Yeah, true. So yeah, their training that would be their first specificity, right? Because it's the most specific they can be to their sport, right? And then the
Yeah,
strength training would serve to kind of back that up.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yep, yep. And the thing is that these girls are like top of the world. Like the team is one of the top 10 teams in the world, and they get to they have very very tough schedules. Sometimes they train. They have one season that they go abroad in like Turkey, Russia, Japan, Brazil to
Cool.
play professionally. They come
Okay.
back and then they have the let's say national team season, which is like qualifying for Olympic Games, Pan American Games, or any other uh, uh, national team event. So the season is long. So when they go abroad, like I had one in Russia, one in Indonesia for months.
Okay.
So so when they come back, I have to try to fix them whatever they have and try to get them strong for whatever they have on the national team. But then the national team has his own plans, like their own schedule. So it's very very hard. I have to adjust
Yeah.
constantly to whatever the needs of the athlete.
Wow, that's intense. That's not.
Those are
Yeah.
that's good. That's very good. Like it is a good challenge for me.
Yeah. It keeps you engaged with the clients as well, right? It's not like Gen
Yeah.
Pop where
Yeah, and actually, sometimes what I do with them is more like some structural balance, and sometimes it's just like soft tissue therapy. Just get them if they are hurting, some like dry needling, whatever they need, just to get them going. Train a little bit, depending on what they need or depending on how they feel, and then I send them off because
yeah.
I don't. I need to be careful with that.
Yeah, and when they're abroad, do you give them programs to follow, or
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Most of the time, I give them proof to follow, but sometimes schedules are crazy and they have to travel to different countries or different parts of the country where they don't have access to any equipment
yeah,
or anything.
true, yeah,
Sometimes they don't have any equipment at all for months
wow,
because where they are, the club doesn't have any,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, it's hard to have that
adjust.
accessible.
In a justice training, the club has as well because each club has their own like schedule.
Yeah, okay, no, yeah, those were very good answers, my friend. Yeah, I'll end it with a question I asked you back in 2018, I think, when we met. I still remember your answer, but yeah, I'll ask you again. Like, what's the most important thing you've learned in the last 2 years?
Uh, all right. Well, actually, it comes back to the first thing we talk is I call it exposure. We need to
Exposure.
expose our so yeah. So for me, it it relates to a lot of things that you need to. But we will talk about training. It's you need to expose your athlete enough to what they need to improve.
Okay.
You know, uh, so and expose them to as many things as possible. And when I mean many things, it's not like going to the other side of variation. Like, well, that depends on that. This is another conversation because it depends on the training age of the athlete.
Okay.
But like, if you want to improve, try to expose them to squats as much as you can with enough variation that will translate to a better uh, squat or better results, as well as if you want to lift, let's say, uh, 500 pounds in the squat, if you never get it, not even close to that, once you get that 500 pounds in your back, you're gonna get this. You're gonna get scared like the
Yeah.
shit out of you.
Yeah.
Because, but I don't want this to be under like misinterpreted. I'm not a big fan of 1RMs constantly.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think we need to expose us to hard work. Like, even though I'm going to do 3 or 5 reps, let's say, on a max strength development program, I need to hit as that that 5 RM or that 3 RM should be a set where I really need to struggle. I need to be
Yeah.
exposed to the struggle
Struggle.
of
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
For me, it's very like if you want to, you can only fight as you train.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm a fighter and I only get the easier, like the guys that are have a lower level than me, and I just beat the hell out of them. When I get someone that at my level,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able. I'm not gonna be able to handle it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I have learned how to do that. So you need to expose yourself to that part, to people that are hard to beat, to hard or have a higher level than me, so I can really see how I manage myself to that.
Yeah.
So because people, again, people go like overboard and they go do 1RMs constantly, which is bad. Sometimes people go balls to the walls every set, every
Yeah.
workout, and that's not good enough at all. Because I think training and recovery is part of the program. Recovery and rest is part of the
For
program.
sure. Yeah. For sure.
Um, uh, but you need to expose yourself to what you want.
Yeah.
That's one thing. That
Yeah.
was a long answer, but
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I've learned. And the other thing is like, actually with this quarantine stuff, it's like we talked earlier, is like we need to pay attention to what is essential.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
In training, it's called training efficiency.
Okay. Yeah. So not squandering your efforts on stuff that's not essential to the outcome.
Yeah, because if you ever seen a workout written by Charles, it was so simple.
Yeah.
It's a simple workout. You see that, like, not so many. I see some workouts that have 8, 10 exercises and many moving parts, and for me, it's like, okay, this is too complicated. Like, make
Yeah.
it simple.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to be simple. So, what is essential? That's the main thing. So there are moments when you can go and complicate things a little bit, but most of the time, like maybe 85, 90% of the time, You need to make things simple.
Yeah.
And focus on what's really essential in training and life, and just focus on that.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Great answers, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
man. Thanks.
Thanks so much for coming on, man. Yeah, it was really great to hear all this.
No. Thank you
Yeah.
for inviting me. It's a real pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah. Take care that side, and yeah, I'll be in touch for sure.
Okay. Yeah, for sure, man. Whenever you need me, let me know.
Perfect, man. Thanks. See you. Take
Be
care.
good.
Peace, man.